Hello everyone and welcome back to another Clossi Approach series video. This will be our final one for the 13 by 13. At least for now. I may add more on just to show more examples in the future, but I want to work my way down the levels. So in the next video, we'll actually be starting on 19 by 19, so very excited for that. But we are going to start on this game, and we do have another cool volunteer from Twitch chat. Thank you so much again for all the volunteers who are helping me record this series. Okay, so this one is a little bit higher level, but hopefully still around the level that I think will be applicable for this 13 by 13 basics. So we're going to play this, and we're just going to do our same basic stuff, show another example, and then after this we will conclude it and go to 19 by 19 in the next video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started into this one. So go ahead and resume.
Game resumed.
All right, so I'm going to do my same thing. I'm going to go across. And I do recommend, like, this is something I recommend my students a lot, is if you're playing Go for a long time and you're trying to improve, it can be useful to keep the same opening and then change it every, like, X amount of games. So if you're on the 19 by 19, what I usually tell my students is 30 to 50 games, play the same opening, and then switch it up. Or you can also do, like, 1 month, play the same opening, and next month, change it up. That way you get enough time to learn your opening a little bit, and get some ideas on how it works, learn the Josekis, and then you get to change it up and learn more stuff. But the one thing I don't want you to do is switch openings every single game, because that can just get confusing. And also, I don't want you to never change your opening, because then you don't learn new stuff. However, for small boards, my advice, let's just say 10 games, play the same opening, and then change it just slightly. So if I'm going star point, 3-4 point for 10 games, then I'll go star point for 10 games. Or if I can go in star point, 3-4 point, I might do 2-3-4 points. That way I'm still working with one thing that I've already worked with, and I'm only changing it just a little bit, so I can learn a little bit without completely learning everything new. Alright, so my opponent's already playing a little bit strange. This is not according to basics. What do? Ignore it. Doesn't matter. My basics. Open corners, done. Open sides. Left side and right side, top side and bottom side. I think the left side and the right side are the biggest. My opponent does look like he's getting a little bit greedy. I don't know. So maybe I want to go in, but I could also play on my side. It's fine too. But for small boards, the earlier you invade, the easier it'll be. Big boards, it just play in the largest framework. So I think black's is a little bit bigger than white's because this stone doesn't do nothing, but we're not gonna freak out. We're just gonna keep doing our basics. So I'm just gonna go in. Okay. What's a good place to go in? 3-3 point right here is common and good. We can approach. And this one is not one of the normal ones. So the way to respond to this one is we can 3-3. Same as the start point. 3-3s are pretty cool. We can actually play under it as well. Remember, 5th line is too high from our introduction from the How to Play Go series. 5th line is sky high because it's easy to invade. Well, guess what? It's easy to invade because we just play a 3rd line. So I think I'm going to play this one just so that way you guys can have some idea about how it works. But 3-3s, approach, or this one, it's all fine. Just somewhere on the 3rd line. 3rd line for safety. Oh, hello, Toth. Welcome. We're actually introducing some beginner level concepts. We're actually recording for YouTube to introduce some beginner concepts. All right, so all we're going to do is expand our space. So he touched. What do? Hane. Do I Hane here? That one has a cutting point. Do I Hane here? That one has a cutting point, but I can push to the edge. So block. And I'm actually going to expand my space. I am going to link this in chat real quick. So this is what I'm recording right now, is more videos for this series. Oh, he's threatening my cutting point because now I have 2 liberties instead of 3 liberties. So I'm going to fix. Fix first, defense first. Cuts, the most important thing on the small boards that you learn. Cutting points. Super important. Super important. Cutting points. Okay, so he fixed this cutting point. What do? I'm still in my opponent's area, and I don't have enough space. So, 1 stone jumps through. Just jump, make some space. And I'm alive. I'm happy with this result. Just survive on my opponent's side. It's my opponent's side of the board. I just need space to survive. All right, so I feel pretty confident over here. He invaded my 3-3, so we're just going to play our regular 3-3 variation. I believe I talked about this already. If anyone has any questions about the 3-3 invasion, just let me know in the comments below, and maybe I can make more videos on it. But this is something that's going to come up a lot in this series, so just by watching the series, you'll learn more variations. All right, so next up is Hane. That is the Joseki, or the common variation in the corner. So this one I can keep walking. I'll just keep it normal. I'll just keep it normal. It's fine. Just be normal. Just be normal. Don't be crazy. Don't be crazy. Don't be crazy. Just keep walking. It's okay. I am watching this cutting point. So this is not a net yet. So I need one more, and then it'll be a net. Doot doot and net. If I was worried about the cutting point at the start, I could have just connected it from the start. But if I've researched my Josekis, I know this is possible. So it's fine. But I am watching this cutting point. And actually, a happy little accident. Oh, I read that cut. I'm not surprised by it. I am not going to freak out. Oh, I got a cut. No, I've been reading it the whole time. If you are surprised by a cutting point, that's the mistake. It means you didn't check. Most important thing at this level, check these cutting points. It's how you lose the game. Check those cutting points. Okay, so he played this one. A little bit strange, but I'm just going to capture the cutting stones, and it's all fine. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. Don't get distracted. Just stay connected and stay strong. You're fine. I actually like this one. This one's a very different than the other ones we've been playing. We're playing a very aggressive player. Instead of like one's going for points, this one's going all out on attacking us. So actually, all we've been doing this game is playing pretty much just defense for the last like 10 moves. But it's okay. Doesn't mean we're doing any worse. We're just playing defense. Okay, so our opponent is surrounding the right, but I have space, so I'm okay. I'm connected over here, so I'm okay. I don't have a base yet, so let's do something about that. Let's get my base. Play defense. I do have like one eye right here, and this will give me almost a second eye. I'm pretty alive. But let's just make my base. Okay, can I 1-point jump? Okay, jump, push, block. There's 2 cutting points, 2 liberties, so I can Atari and Atari. So nope, gotta push. If you're confused by what I just did, keep playing, keep practicing. But we'll go over it in the review as well. All right. Do I have enough space for me? I'd like a little bit more, but I want to leave as soon as possible, right? But my opponent also gave me an Atari. This is not a net because the Atari's right here. Also not a ladder. But it does cut off this stone. But it's okay. I don't need to be super aggressive. Let's threaten to cut to get my eye space. I could do this. There's many things I could do here to live. All I care about is just make my eye space. Make my base. Make my base. And then once I feel comfortable, which if he responds, yep. And now I feel comfortable. I have space right here, escape route. I feel pretty comfortable.
现在开始读秒.
Maybe I want one more. Technically, that's a false eye. I'm trying really hard not to just go after this to kill it. You know what? Let's just keep defending. Just defend. It's fine. It's fine. I'm alive, but maybe it's not obvious yet. Just keep defending. It's okay. Defend until you're alive. Just don't die. Your only job. Okay, I'm for sure alive. I'm connected. I'm okay. I'm for sure okay. Okay, now let's think about it. Open corner, big moves, open corners, no. Open sides, no. Well, actually, top side. So I can 3-3, or I can approach. I think approach is nice. But I also have to watch my ice space. If I
10,
approach and he blocks,
9,
am I okay?
8, 7, 6, 5.
Let's just approach. I'm overthinking it a little bit. So the reason I say I don't know is because when you have a one stone jumps two, there is something you have to watch out for. Okay, so kick, Nobi, we've learned that one already. When there's a stone on both sides of the two space jump, you do need more moves. You're fine up until there's a stone on both sides. Once there's a stone on both sides, you have to respawn. Or you're supposed to respawn. But as long as there's not a stone on both sides of me, and I have some sliding stuff, some moves over here to get more ice space, I'm okay. But once I lose that, now it's questionable. Okay, so touch. Okay, Hane. Get my ice space. All I'm looking at is the ice space. Okay, he does this again. I can cut and break into this corner, but I'm thinking defense first. So defense first. Defense first. It's a trap. It's a very inviting trap. It's trap. Oh, but I defended. Now I can do it. What's the most important thing at this level? Cutting points. So there's two cuts. If I cut here, he connects. But if I cut here, I can Atari this stone to the edge. So disconnect these two. Oh, I'm an Atari, but he didn't fix, so just capture. Simple fix. Okay, fix. Defense first. All right, and now I can cut. And the reason I'm cutting is because I actually do need a little bit more ice space. And if you're unsure, then it's better to be a little bit safe than sorry. But once I have enough space, then I can start going with the rest of the game. And it looks like we're almost about to be in endgame as well. There's no influence this game, unlike the other games. So this one's nice. It shows a lot more of the other side of, instead of just making territory, it's a lot of fighting. This is the difficult stuff, right? What do? Defense first. Stay connected. Keep your space. Check the cutting points. How did I live? I stayed connected. My opponent didn't. I watched my cutting points, and then I cut through theirs. That's how I'm winning the fights, is cutting points. Nothing else. There is some life and death, but you're supposed to do go problems, like, every day. So there is some life and death. But everything is pretty much based off of these go problems. Or, sorry, the cutting points. The cutting points is how I'm winning the fights. I don't get cut, and then I cut my opponent. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. That's fighting at this level. Just those cutting points. Alright, so I'm definitely alive. There's gonna be right here, but I think both sides are okay. More or less. Ish. Maybe. So I'm just gonna proceed with this game. There's no influence, so endgame. Second line, forcing moves. Second line, Sente. First line, forcing moves. First line, forcing moves. Alright, I think I'm out of forcing moves. There is this move, but I don't think it's forcing. I don't think it's Sente. Okay, so I would say now just play a big move. Okay, so I'm gonna block and make my space and finish the borders, because I think this is the last, or this is the big stuff to play. Not necessarily forcing, but I'm blocking my big stuff. There's a cutting point right here, so if you did that, that's also okay, but I think the points are bigger than 1 stone. But it's fine. It's fine. If you pushed and cut, it was fine as well. I want to block, so let's check my cut. Atari, go down. 1, 2, 3, 4 for black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for white. Okay, so I push to the edge. He goes, I block. He goes, I block. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I okay
10,
on this side?
9, 8,
yeah.
7,
1, 2,
6,
3.
5,
fine. I can do it.
4.
If you just know, if you think it doesn't work, then you would just connect right here. That's also fine. And then when black walks, you would just turn and block. But I read my cutting point. I counted the liberties. I did my normal stuff. And I can play it. But sometimes you'll be wrong. And if you're wrong, then you just connect. That's okay. You don't have to play perfect here. The goal right now is to build habits, build good habits, train your reading, and practice. Practice, practice, practice. Gain experience. That's the most important thing. Gain experience and learn. All right, here we go. I'm not going to freak out. I read it. Connect. Okay. And if you got caught off guard, if you forgot to read it, stop, sacrifice 1 overtime period, and read it out. Okay? That we talked about this in the last video. Don't freak out when you make a mistake, when you get caught off guard. Okay? You stop, sacrifice a period, reevaluate the position, see if it's actually a mistake, or see if you actually have a chance to. In this case, you could have maybe solved it afterwards, but you should solve it before you play it. But in the last game, you saw that we actually made a mistake, but we could have made the mistake worse if we panicked. Okay? So here, it's stay calm and just do what you read. Push them to the edge. Push them to the edge. Right? That's our beginner basics. Push them to the edge if they do this. Okay, block. Excuse me. Yeah, a lot of people in chat are pointing out the weaknesses right here. I don't want to go, like, right now the priorities are defense first. Why is this defense? Because technically these are cutting stones. I'm going to capture the cutting stones. There are, at higher levels, defending by using your opponent's problems is a concept, but it's too much for this level. All I care about right now is just play defense and do what you read. If you can find all the clever stuff, like if you can capture and survive and keep these dead even, and just everything works for you, yeah, that's fine. Of course, the better you are at reading, the more effective your stuff is going to be. But we have to keep it, we have to make sure that we can apply this at this level. All right, so it goes in. What do? Push them to the edge. I can do it here or here. I think both are exactly the same. So I'm just gonna push. I want to keep them separated so no combinations happen by accident. But I think both are pretty much exactly the same thing. So it's fine. I really like this player. Okay, let me clarify. I don't like this style, actually. But I think this is a great learning experience. Like, whenever you're a player, you get an opponent that goes crazy attacking and stuff. That's a great learning experience. It can either be 1, really stressful, or 2, really exciting. You want to make it exciting. Because if you get stressed and you get confused, their style is going to be more effective. But if you stay calm and treat it as a learning experience, there's a lot to learn from it. Right? I can just push them to the edge. He Ataris. I connect. 1, 2, 3 to 1, 2. Or I can just connect. Let's connect. Simpler, easier, less to read. Less to read. If there's a variation that works and another variation that works, and they both work, pick the one that requires less reading. That's less likely for you to mess up. Make the game easy on yourself. Okay, so he's dead, I'm alive, everything's good, cool, fine and dandy. Alright, let's proceed with what we were doing. First line, second line's good.
10,
There's
9,
this move.
8,
There's this move.
7, 6.
I think this one's bigger. I think this one's forcing, and he'd respond, so I could go there first. but there's also the chance he'll ignore and play here. I don't know. Either one was fine. And for this level, either one's fine. I was just playing here because I thought that wasn't forcing. I thought it wasn't Sentai. Okay, defense first. This is for 23 Qs. Ish. This is 23 Qs learning the correct basics. So this is like this is the basics that I want a 23 Q to learn played perfectly. Okay? That's the level that this is. I'm not saying a 23 Q will play this way. I'm saying this is what I want 25
10,
to even 20 Q
9,
actually. 25 to 20
8,
Q. I want
7,
them to learn
6,
these things,
5,
but I'm just applying it
4,
perfectly, right?
3,
So let's just
2,
reduce. Okay, just keep reducing. So someone asked, is being aggressive a valid strategy in high level Go? Yes. But I don't recommend it. Here's why. You can get to 5-Dan with two ways. One, very strong basics, or two, very strong fighting. Which one do you think is more reliable for wins? The basics, right? And that's what I teach. I teach the basics. But to get
10,
from 5-Dan to 7-Dan,
9, 8, 7.
You need both basics and fighting. Okay? There's a lot of fighting concepts, like defense with counterattacks, use your opponent's Aji to defend in Sente, use your opponent, like here, this was fighting, defending yourself by using your opponent's problems, saving yourself by killing your opponent. That's fighting ideas. Very powerful stuff. But if you make a mistake, you die. So, I think there's two ways to get to 5-Dans. Basics and fighting. I recommend basics first, but to be fair, you have to learn from 25Q to 5-Dan, you have to learn 30 ranks of basics and 30 ranks of fighting to get to 7-Dan. So to be really strong, you have to be good at both. But for now, for learning at the lower levels,
10,
basics first
9,
is my recommendation.
8, 7,
Okay,
6,
just
5,
keep
4,
pushing
3,
stuff.
2.
Blocking borders and finding borders. Not sure actually where to. Just keep pushing borders. Anything that takes and blocks points is okay. Okay, I'm an Atari. Defend. So they are talking about Batsuko, also known as Dwyren, in chat. I think the basics are similar, but Dwyren actually talks about, it has a fighting series and a basic series. And here's something that I actually encourage you to do. Don't learn Go from just one source. In other words, as much as I want you to watch my content and learn what I'm teaching, I don't want you to only learn from me. I think it's very important to learn from multiple sources and see what stuff overlaps, what stuff clicks
10,
with you. Maybe someone
9,
says something
8,
one way
7,
and another person says it in
6.
another way, but that other way makes more sense to you. So, I don't want you learning Go from just me. I don't want you learning Go from just one source. I think the more sources you can learn from, the better. Be it books, other streamers, other teachers. Buzzsaw, I think you're good because you have myself and Youngosing. So I think you already are. But you can also watch Bats and stuff too. Excuse me. You can also watch Bats and stuff. But I want to encourage you. Like, if you have a favorite, that's fine. But I want to encourage you to learn. Oh, and Gojuan. Cool. I want to encourage you to learn from many sources. I'm kind of just finishing the borders. I'm not doing anything super fancy. I'm just finishing the borders. That's why I'm not really talking through moves. I'm just blocking and pushing borders. Nothing crazy. Nothing. Oh. Oh. Okay, we're not gonna do it. 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 And we're not gonna do it. We are not gonna murder the board. We are just going to play basics. I almost accidentally, just by pushing the borders, I almost killed the board. Don't do that. We're just going to I'm trying to teach basics here. Mm,
10.
I think this is
9,
basic.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4 periods left.
This is basic, right? Yeah, let's teach how to fight a ko. Let's teach how to fight a ko. Okay, so this is a ko. And these stones are about to... These stones just got cut off. These stones are about to die. Okay? So how do we fight a ko? Well, what should black do? Black should play a ko threat. Okay? So black should do something that forces me to respond. So a ko means I cannot make the board look exactly like it did last turn. Okay? So black can't take back immediately. Otherwise, we'll be in an infinite loop. Okay? So we need a threat for black. So where can black play that I have to respond to and can't kill him? Five for 2 is a good exchange, but I want to teach a ko. I want to teach a ko. Okay, chat. Someone in chat found it. H4 was a good thing.
10, 9, 8.
I want to teach a ko.
7, 6, 5, 4.
Okay, now we need a threat. So where should our threat be? We need to threaten something. H4 is not a threat for white. H4 is a threat for black. So where is something? Aha! Someone found it. E2. How is this a threat? It threatens to capture and maybe even kill the corner. Actually, it threatens
10.
to kill the whole corner. Good threat. Good threat. And now we're learning kos. Okay, this is good. I'm glad this happened because now there's a learning experience, right? Now there's a learning experience. So good ko. Sometimes weird stuff happens and we just have to deal with it. Okay, so now I take the ko back. Yeah, this is someone said this is called a picnic ko. Why is it a picnic ko? Because we're having a picnic. Just ko threats. If I win, I kill stuff. If I lose, no big deal. But if black loses, black has a headache ko. Okay, black loses, he loses all these stones. So it's a bit. It's also known as it can also be called a flower ko for us. Ooh, yep, good ko threat. Also, is a flower ko for us. Because we don't care if we lose. It's fine. Is it though? Throw in Atari 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we're still fine. We're fine. We're fine. 3 to 4. Okay, no big deal. The problem is I can kill the whole group right here.
9, 8, 7, 6.
That's okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 periods left.
Oh, I lost the period. Oh! Did I make a mistake? Am I missing? No, I'm right. I'm right. Oops. Follow up. Follow up your ko threat. The corner could live. It's okay. Yeah, it's not bad for black. Actually, this is good. In hindsight, this is probably the best black can hope for. Otherwise, you die, right? Oh. But remember, 3. So just take a liberty. Oh wait, I don't even have to because I captured these. I'm alive. I don't need liberties. I have these. Oops. It's okay. I made a mistake. No big deal. No big deal. Learn from it. Learn from it. I don't even have to respond. Okay, I'm an Atari. Capture. Oh, lots to learn from in this game. Maybe watch this video multiple times. Well, actually, I encourage you. If a good habit to build is reviewing games on a real board. So if you have a real board, it's actually really, really useful to study your games on a real board. So it actually might be a good exercise and it might be a lot of fun. Is if you have a real board,
10.
Replay this game
9,
on a real board and see
8,
how many things you can read out.
7,
how many things can you find?
6, 5.
There's a lot of stuff
4,
in this game.
3, 2.
A lot of stuff to learn in this game. So this would be a good game to replay on a real board. And then yeah, when you review your games, reviewing on a real board is going to be more useful than like virtually. Okay, I'm in Atari. So first, I can connect, yes. But first, take the co. Because it saves it just as well. Make him waste one co-threat, and then I'll fix. Like, if you can just capture to save yourself, just capture, right? It's easier. Just worth more. Right here. Here's the threat. Okay, if he doesn't take the threat, I mean, it's fine. I'll just fix. But if he plays here, I take, he takes, then I'll connect, okay? And I gained one co-threat. So, fix. Oh, but it's not a co-threat now. Very exciting game. A very exciting game. Lots to learn from in this game. And I think we're almost done. Just 1, 2, 3, 4 spots left. Okay. Here. Then he has to fill. And then I take the dummy. And then it's done.
Pass.
Pass.
Remove the dead stones.
Right, and that's accept.
You have won.
And say thank you for the game. Thank you for the chance to learn. All right. This is a 54.5 points. So let's go ahead and review this game. Okay, someone asked, does his throw in at N8 right here cost him a black point or no because you had to respawn at N7? The answer is no. It does not lose. Well, yeah, it doesn't lose a point no matter the rule set. If black plays here and white responds, it's a neutral result. In Chinese rules, captures are not worth points. And an area and stone is both worth a point. In Japanese rules, black loses a point, but white also loses a point. So, points-wise, it's an even result no matter the rule set. As long as I respond to everything, and nothing else changes. Just boop, boop. It's no points. However, this is a co-threat. So, if a co comes up, That's one less threat you have. So it's not good. Okay. All right. Thank you for the game. Hopefully you are back in chat. Very exciting game. Very exciting game. All right. Definitely, I can see why you open this way because it starts a lot of fighting and stuff. Very active. All right. So what do? We go in. We disrupt our opponent's position, and this is a very tricky sequence because if you try to attack, what happens? Oh, yeah, you lose stones, but black gets the outside. It's a very tricky sequence. Very tricky sequence. Yep. So this is a very exciting game because there's lots to learn from it. But I will say my advice for you, if you are going to play this way, you have to do go problems. Reading is the most important thing for this type of style, for this type of play. It's not very basic, but it's very, very powerful. It's also high risk, though. In other words, if your opponent can read better than you, you can't really win with this style. Okay, so, but it's a very exciting style. Lots to learn. And facing different styles is great for someone who's trying to improve at the game. Experiencing both this style and the basic style, like we experienced last game, having like both as opponents is really, really good. Okay, so I just fixed. My opponent fixed. This way's better. Because this way I can potentially push and cut later. But it's okay. And then I'm just going to review for white. It's probably too much to review for both. So white, I just made my base. Made my space. Black goes in, I just blocked. And did my normal variation. There is a cut, but remember if they do that. Boom, 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 boom. Black is struggling in the corner, so black has to live. And white gets all these forcing moves on the outside. You can also Atari and then go here and kill the corner. Black has a lot of problems on the outside, so it's not normally good. If you're worried about it, you just play here. And then you can play here, but maybe you're doing that. So you can go one more and then go here, and then just go elsewhere. 4-on-4 is okay. This is a little passive, though. It's okay for now if black's like has a lot of stones over here and you're really, really worried about the cuts because of all these extra stones. This is the safe way to play, but it is a little bit of a loss because this is just better if the cut doesn't work. Okay? But it is important to read this cut, and you have to take these two stones into account. So if you're worried about it, just go here. It's fine. It's fine for now. Once your reading improves, then you can't really do it. Okay. But I am watching the cut. I am taking the other stones into account. I'm reading it. If you're playing this without reading it, very dangerous. So here, if you're unsure about the cutting point, you can just fix now. That's already a good enough exchange. You can go here, you can make your base. 2 stones high. So this one's 2 stones, but it's on the second line, so that one doesn't really count. It's 1 stone high, so from the third line. This one is third line and fourth line, so it's 2 stones high, so we can jump 3. 2 jumps 3, 1 jumps 2. How high you are. Second line doesn't really count. Because, talk about why. If our opponent runs away, we can push them into that stone. We can surround them. That's why it has to be high, not low. Because low, we can potentially connect under, but it's not very efficient. But high, we can surround stuff, and it's very easy to keep your eye space. Okay, so here, I went one more specifically for this cutting point. So I wasn't surprised by the cut because I'm reading my cuts. I always check my cuts. If I was worried about it, I would have just fixed. But I fixed my cut. And I read it, and I'm okay. Okay, and so here I'm like, okay, but maybe there's something black can do here. Like maybe I'm a little worried. Okay, I'm not actually worried, but like maybe you're worried about black getting forcing moves or something, and then you don't have any eye space, right? Maybe you're worried about it. So just defend. That's what I did. I just defended. Sorry, like this one. I just defended. It's okay. If you're worried about something, just defend. I think it's too much for black to attack this, but just in case, safety first. It's fine. It's okay to be a little bit slow for defense until our reading improves. Once our reading improves, then we just read it out and try to fight for 3 moves. But at this level, just defend. Just defense. Just defense. Why do I not consider this an eye, though? This is actually a life and death question. Because these 2 stones are alive, this is why I kept defending. Because if black plays and I take, and the black plays and then I take, this is a false eye. So actually, I can't consider. I was like, I have some eye space. I have a lot of forcing moves. But maybe I need the eye space over here because this is technically a false eye. I could force and cut and do all kinds of cool stuff. But I don't. If you can't see that, then you need to defend. And I want to show you it's okay to just defend. When we get stronger, then we can start looking at all the other ways to defend. But it's fine. Okay, I've defended. Now I play a normal move. Now what I was saying about over here, maybe a slide would have been better or something. Because when black responds with the normal response, it actually attacks my group. How do I know it's an attack? Because with 1 stone jumps 2, if black has a stone on both sides of you, you need to respond. And normally the response is a jump. But in this case, black actually has stones right here. So it's actually a little bit dangerous for white. That's why I was concerned about approaching right here, because this might be a little bit dangerous. So what might be good is to slide and then fix. And then I can do the open side. Because I think the open side might attack me. Or what I could do is just play an extension instead of an approach. That actually might have made more sense. Then if black attacks, I just live, and it's okay. But my move doesn't force black to attack me. So it's just a matter of keeping track of everything, keeping track of the basics. There's more than one right answer. If you don't understand one of the variations I showed, it's okay. Like in Go, especially at the amateur level, there's usually more than one right answer. And I want you to really understand that. You don't have to play the perfect move. The AI can scream at you all at once. Guess what? The more it's screaming at you isn't going to make you an AI. I'm sorry, but the AI can scream at you all at once, but you're not going to be able to play like the AI. Likely not in your lifetime. The top pro in the world cannot play like the AI yet. So, it's okay. We don't have to play the perfect move. What we do need to do is play a good move for our level. Just need to play a good move at our level. That's all that matters. What I want to stress at this level is winning isn't super important as much as gaining experience. So don't stress about losing. And I want you to have a purpose for your move. The hardest thing about Go is it's so many options. Like I have all these moves except for those 2. What do I play? It's too many options to consider. We have to narrow it down. And I want to give you goals and purpose when you move with your moves, so that way you can at least have an idea of where you should be thinking about going and why. Right? That's all I want from this. From my students, I just want them to have an idea. I want them to have a goal, and I want them to play a move that helps that does that goal. That's it. What's your goal? Is it defense? Is it big move? What are you doing? And it's just keeping track of all this stuff. And as you get stronger, you'll add on more in-depth goals with more theory applied. And then you'll also add in more and more variations and reading and shapes and patterns and combine that together to create well thought out moves. But you have to start somewhere. Okay? So it's very easy to overwhelm yourself and Go. But no matter where you are and Go, you can be stronger than me, you can be weaker than me, you can be a beginner, you can be a single digit Q, you can be a Dawn player, you can be a pro. No matter where you are and Go, there's always someone stronger. But if you've made it this far, you've likely played at least 1 or 2 games. That means there's always someone weaker than you too. There will always be someone stronger, always be someone weaker. That's Go. So like this, you just need to narrow it down. Just narrow it down. I think get rid of all those triangles. If you can get down to 4 options, that's good enough. All right. So that's why I was a little bit concerned about this move, because I was worried I was attacking myself. And then black attached. Two attachments, we just Hane. Hane out if we want to run. Hane under if we just want eye space. I just want eye space. I'm on my opponent's side. I just want to live. So I Hane under. Okay? If my opponent cuts, I just push them to the edge. Easy peasy. But when they block, cutting point activates. Why? Because now I have 2 liberties. So I fix. Defense first. This is the trap, though. Boom! I capture your stone! But you lost your whole position to do it. It's a trap. Okay? Be wary of that trap. Defense first. Then your opponent defends. Then you can play. And then if your opponent doesn't, now you've defended. Now there's no weakness of your shape. Then you can punish. Okay? And just defense. I played here because I was looking at my eye space. If I go somewhere else, I was worried. You can see that I actually have 3 in a row. So this one should be on YouTube in 2 weeks from the recording date. So the next 2 weeks. Oh, actually, within the next 2 weeks. It might be sooner than 2 weeks. Within the next 2 weeks. So I was checking my eye space. It's okay to not fully be able to do this yet. This is more important on the 19x19. A little more above this level. So if you didn't check the eye space, you didn't notice you were down to 1 eye. It's not the end of the world. Just you learn. It's better to die and learn. But I want you to understand that's why I was capturing this stone. I wasn't starting Yosei yet. I was just capturing it because I saw the potential for death. If you want to learn what I'm doing, all I'm doing is just pushing the eye space borders and just taking the Sente moves first and then fixing my own weaknesses. I'm just checking all the forcing moves and pushing the borders, only the forcing moves, and then fixing any weakness, and I'm seeing the eye space. Like if there wasn't weakness, I would just reduce. And all I'm doing is, what is the shape on the inside? That's what I'm doing. If you're not able to do that yet, technically it's a little bit above this level. It's okay. But eventually we'll work up to that. And the more you do go problems, the more you'll be able to see like bigger shapes. But on this one, I think it's possible to read at this level. All you have to do is just imagine your opponent plays these forcing moves. What's the eye shape? 2 in a row, right? But there's a cut, okay? That's another way to live, so that's another eye. So we fix that. It's 3 in a row. And if we can imagine that, if we can simplify it down to a shape that we just know from Go problems, then we can solve it. All it is, I'm just pushing the borders and the forcing moves, pushing the borders with the forcing moves in my head, and seeing what is the shape. That's the trick that I'm using here, and that's why I played this move. I think this is a little bit above this level, but it's okay. Just another learning shape, another learning experience. All right, so now I thought, okay, there's no more center to be had, so let's start the end game. Start the end game. Black fixes the cutting points, and just played a big move. I consider doing this, but I think this doesn't. Black's already blocking on this side and this side, so I don't think it's forcing. That's why I played a big move here. And I just fixed, and I did read my cutting point, and it played out exactly how we read it. Now, what people were saying is, instead of like responding to this, excuse me, I can attack these stones when black fixes Atari, and then here. And this would actually solve all my problems, and black can't make 2 eyes. There's no space for 2 eyes. So it actually fixes my shape on the outside instead of the inside. But I think this is above this level as well. But just know this is what we were talking about. This is what chat was talking about. This comes with more Go problems. It's recognizing your weakness and your opponent's weakness at the same time. Too high level for this level, it's okay. Just play defense first. But eventually, this is something that you can consider is using your opponent's weakness to defend yourself. But you have to understand weakness first, and you have to be able to develop your reading. Don't stress about doing it right now. Like someone strong might come along, review your game, be like, "Oh, this is better." Yes, it is. But it's okay to not play perfect. What are your basics? If you're dying, I want you to play defense. Okay? I don't care if you do it the strong way or the weak way. Just play defense. As long as you can do that, that's good enough for this level. That's it. That's why, this is all I want from you. I don't care about you playing perfect. I don't care about you killing everything. I just want you to not die. Defense. Simple defense. Just block. Simple defense. Pushing the borders. Pushing the borders. And I'm just pushing the borders. I actually didn't realize here, but I almost killed black. And how do I almost kill black? What does that mean? Well, let's think about it. Imagine I play right here. Okay, what does this do? It disconnects A from B. Okay, now let's look at A. A is connected to all these stones in here, right? But how many eyes does it have? Let's get all the eyes. So is there 4 eyes? Is A an eye? No, it's an Atari. Is this an eye? No, there's an Atari. What if black plays it? What if black plays right here? Still a false eye. Because of the corners. So these 2 triangles are not an eye. What about this one? Oh, there's the corners. So white can connect, and Atari. So, and there's nothing black can really do to stop that. So this isn't an eye either. In other words, all of these stones only have 1 eye. And you can actually accidentally kill this just by reducing. Like, just by playing the end game, you actually might accidentally kill this. So sometimes you have to watch out for that. Like, imagine you're in black shoes. Would you notice that your entire group is eyeless? That's important to notice, right? What's a good hint for keeping track of groups that might become eyeless and you have to watch your connections? Well, a good hint for that is any string of stones, make sure it's connected to something that has space surrounded. Make sure you have space surrounded. If you have space surrounded, that's eye space, right? That's your base. As soon as you get disconnected from that section of points, that section of space, you have to start thinking, okay, does this string of stones actually have eyes? Because it doesn't have any space on the edge, right? So it doesn't have a base. If it doesn't have a base, does it have eyes? Okay, that's your hint. This is not something you can see easily. It will take experience and practice, but that's your hint. If it gets disconnected from eye space or from your points or territory or your base, if you don't have a base, where's the eyes? And while you're finishing the game, make sure you keep track of those connections. Always read your counting points. All right, so black actually misplayed here and let us start a co. But I'm actually really happy because now we got to talk about co-fights. Okay, so this one I was considering 5 for 2. That would have been an okay trade. I'm happy with that. But I wanted to discuss the co-fight. So black takes. Now we find a co-threat. Okay, and we found a co-threat down here. So a good co-threat for black, we were saying, was here, because it tars all these stones. We have to fix, and then black takes. That's a good co-threat. Okay, and then here we threaten this. Black found it, and we threatened here. Now, someone mentioned here as a co-threat. I want to encourage you to think about how you play the co-threats, because if I play here, and black responds, I have one more co-threat. Actually, sorry, 2 more co-threats. 2 more co-threats. But if I play here, 0 more co-threats. So when you play a co-threat, don't just think about the co on this turn. Think about the co-threats in addition to this. Sometimes you can actually, the way you take that co-threat, the way you play the co-threat, will give you more co-threats. Not always, but sometimes. Here's a big pitfall that I do not want you to do. Okay, here's a big mistake that I do not want you to do. I don't have an example on this board. Actually, yes I do. Yes I do. Here is a bad co-threat for black. This one. Why is it a bad threat for black? Because this loses you a point. So remember, earlier in the video, I talked about this. As long as white responds, 0 points. Okay? But here, if I take... Now these 2 stones are in Atari. Like, yeah, these 2 stones are not nearly as big as this group. And sometimes it's true. Like, sometimes a group will be dying. You're like, oh, I don't care about these 2 stones. I just want to save my group. But a co-threat that loses points is a bad threat. Unless the entire game's riding on it, those are not good co-threats. Look for co-threats that are neutral. Like, that one's neutral. But that's because white respawns in his own territory, you don't lose any points. But here, if you fix, you lose points. Right? So, and also, this co-threat, you lost a point. White didn't have a point here before, but black lost a stone, so now white has 1 point right here. White didn't have a point there before. If you had gone here, now white has place here, that's a good co-threat, because there's a point right here, and now there's not. Well, depending on the rule set. But it's a neutral exchange. Don't lose points with co-threats. That's the pitfall. That's the mistake. All right, so this, we actually decided that this was actually a good result for black, or the best result black could have hoped for. Because black doesn't have enough co-threats, so honestly, sacrificing 5 stones so you didn't lose, what is that, 9? 10? That's an okay exchange. This is interesting. I think someone in the future might see this and be like, why can't black just play here? Because if you connect, black connects, or you Atari, black connects. It's because I play this move. Black takes, white takes. It's called the throw-in to Suji. If you want to learn more about this, look up throw-in, the throw-in to Suji. Go problems help you see these. Okay, these are just more Go problems. All right, and the rest was just finishing up the game. So this one was a little bit long, but hopefully I think there's a lot to learn in this one, so maybe watch this one a couple times. And you can also replay it on a real board. But yeah, that will be it for this Clossi Approach series video, and that wraps up our Clossi Approach for the 13x13. So in the next video, we will be starting on the 19x19. For the next section, I'm going to assume that you watch the beginner lecture series playlist that I have on YouTube, because I already have a playlist that introduces the 19x19 board. Okay, I'm going to introduce the Clossi Approach and how to apply the Clossi Approach, but I'm going to take for granted that you have already watched the playlist that introduces the 19x19. It talks about the basics of life and death, the basic eye shapes you should look for. It talks about bases. It talks about approach versus extension versus enclosure, and how to play on the open sides on the big board. And it just has some basic stuff in there that you should understand. So the 19x19 will start at the 19Q to 15Q level, and I encourage you to watch that playlist before moving on from this 13x13 video to the next 19x19 video. I'm gonna put a playlist in between that. So yeah, I do have a lot of stuff, and I try not to repeat information, but there is a lot of information, and it is kind of all relative. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below or message me on Discord or something. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm also on Twitch. I can happily review your games and answer questions on Twitch. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video.